Thank you very much. I think that for you in the Bono region, this press conference coming from here is not new. You are the region that started for the first time having the press conference that we normally have in Accra on Fridays. We had it for the first time in this region. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters of the media. Good afternoon, Ghana, and good afternoon, world. I'm greeting the world because the resolution of the matters that confront us will have ripple effects on how international public finance continues to work hand in hand with our local budget process. The innovative approaches to revenue generation adopted by the 2020 Ajinkwa budget can only lead to revolutionary results for Ghana when accepted and implemented effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, as a political party in government, we appreciate the difficulties our stakeholders have. On one hand, our supporters and sympathizers, thousands of feeders, drivers, teachers, traders, tailors, hairdressers, hawkers, students, teachers, business people, farmers, public servants, traditional authorities, academics, security service personnel, and political servants are struggling with the hardship of post-COVID recovery. Needed is support of any kind, especially that which they believe government can offer. Government of the New Patriotic Party, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, even with the challenges of declining GDP growth, rising unemployment, restricted public sector spending, debt overhang, doomsday, and a financial sector near collapse inherited from the NDC in 2016. The Nana Addo Dankwa-led New Patriotic Party government managed to stabilize the system and implemented its flagship and continued to implement its flagship programs of free SHS, 1D, 1F, that's one district, one factory, planting for food and jobs, and major revamp of the cocoa sector. These initiatives were designed to support the people and generate positive growth. As we are all aware, growth was averaging nearly 7% till the year 2020 when COVID-19 struck the world. To fight the pandemic effectively, the world economy had to shut down. Planes did not move and country borders were closed. Internally, people were confined to their homes and mass activities shut down. Schools, hotels, shops, offices were shut down, whilst transport services were reduced. Naturally, businesses and families suffered. Mechanics, drivers, traders, tailors, hairdressers, hawkers, students, private school teachers, business people, traditional authorities, and academics were negatively impacted in terms of their incomes. Health workers and security services personnel were overstretched. Expected government revenue dipped by over 11 billion Ghana cedis, whilst expenditure went up by over 16 billion Ghana cedis. This created major stress on our public finances. Though we cannot be very certain, the pandemic seems to be slowing down. Now we are confronted by the challenges of economic recovery. COVID-19 has decimated not only government finances, but private capital and savings as well. I want to assure you that the Nana Addo Dankwa-led NPP government is very conscious of the crying need of the people for support during this immediate post-pandemic phase. But faced with a weak tax base, the traditional solutions of increasing petroleum levies and seeking loans fall short of the people's needs. Thus, the government is compelled by necessity to be innovative. As the old adage goes, necessity is the mother of all inventions. That invention is the yield levy. The NPP acknowledges that the government did not invent the e-levy as a concept, but implementing it in Ghana will be a novelty that challenges all of us to be bold and upstanding in the interest of freeing Ghana from perennial petroleum prices hikes, rising public debt, and inadequate infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, the decision to opt for e-levy requires strong and exceptional leadership. The MPP has never shied away from difficult leadership decisions that inure to the benefit of Ghana. Indeed, the MPP has a very good record of taking decisions that initially seemed unpopular, but ultimately turned out to be in the best interest of the majority of our people. In 1993, after boycotting the 1992 parliamentary elections, the MPP leadership, under the principal leadership of B.J. Darocha, supported by the then General Secretary Ejenim Boateng, may their soul rest in perfect peace, courageously told the government of the NDC under the then President Jerry John Rawlings that the MPP party outside Parliament will work informally to participate in the governance of the country if not represented in Parliament. At that time, the MPP had published allegations of electoral theft in the book titled The Stolen Verdict, and the NDC had dug its feet into the ground to continue on its way, with or without the major political party, with or without the major political tradition represented by the New Patriotic Party. In the midst of tension, division, and hot political suspicions, the MPP leadership lifted itself above ego, convinced its followers, and mobilized them to participate in the governance of the country, thereby enabling the Fourth Republic to take off effectively and credibly as a multi-party process. In the year 2001, ladies and gentlemen, having come into office on 7 January after several years of NDC rule, or in other words, misrule, President Kufuor was confronted by empty public coffers. The latter years of the NDC had seen government turn into an economic laboratory managed by our international development partners through structural adjustment program, that is SAP, and economic recovery program, notwithstanding. The Kufuor-led MPP government had to take a very difficult and unpopular decision. The country had to opt for the highly indebted poor country, or else succumb to its debts. In the face of opposition from within his own government, President Kufuor led Ghana into epic, stabilized public finances, and exited in a record time. That initially unpopular decision helped to create fiscal space for Ghana to develop beneficial social interventions, including free maternal health care, national health insurance scheme, capitation grant for basic schools, free school feeding program, mass transportation, and employment generation through national youth employment program. This was a time when inflation was around 45%, interest rate was around 50%, the total economy of the country was about $4 billion. The entire economy was $4 billion. Debt to GDP ratio was around 250%. This was the time that Kufuor took that bold decision. We heard the calls from the NDC at that time. They made noise about it. But Kufuor stood to his grounds, weathered the storm, and was able to exit the HIPC arrangement, and the benefits of HIPC was all there for all of us to see. We reduced inflation to close to a single digit. We increased the size of the economy by 4 times, and as they say, we quadruple the size of the economy. By the time we were living, debt to GDP ratio was 26%. This is a decision that was taken by His Excellency Nana J. Kufuor, and that led us to reduce and expand the fiscal space for the country. The NPP government also took bold decisions about the operations of GNPC, leading to the discovery of oil in commercial quantities. The Kufuor NPP government provided workable solutions in the face of difficulties to transform Ghana from a hippie country in 2001 to a lower middle income country in a record time of 8 years. This is bold decision. This is courageous decision by the NPP government led by J. Kufuor. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC could not sustain and grow what President Kufuor left them in 2009. By 2016, the John Mahama-led NDC had literally driven the economy into the ground. Even with the benefit of oil production and income, persistent energy shortages led to traders losing their capital, businesses shutting down, and losses of life and noise and air pollution with generators all over the place. He presided over, and this was the time of Dumsor. Dumsor visited us for close to 6-7 years in this country under His Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Ghana. He presided over an unemployment freeze, destroying the hopes of thousands of graduates. His attempt to solve Dumsor has bequeathed the country with perpetual debt payment for excess capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, typical of the NPP, with the leadership of Chairman Freddie Blay and John Boadu myself backing the government, President Akufo-Addo took extremely bold decision to restructure the financial sector and reprofile our national debt. The cleanup in the financial sector saved thousands of jobs and about 4.6 million depositors' funds. If we had not taken such a bold decision, you remember it was at that time that we had Ponzi schemes around. And you in the Brown-Harford region are aware of the Ponzi scheme and the difficulties Ghanaian people went through with the DKM, God is Love, the Men's Gold, and all that. If the Ghanaian people had not changed the NDC, the financial sector with 4.6 million depositors' funds will have been lost, and we wouldn't have had a strong, robust financial sector. It is the strong decision of the New Patriotic Party government led by His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo that led to such revamping of our financial sector. In the wake of COVID-19, Ghana is challenged by the needs of her people seeking to recover their livelihoods. The government must find the resources to kickstart economic activities, fund social services, improve infrastructure, support employment, and increase growth. Whilst the powerful economies of the world can resort to internal deficit financing to kickstart and restore their economies with massive public investment, Ghana has no such opportunity by virtue of its place within the international financial architecture. Though fighting COVID-19 turned the international financial architecture on its head, with many developed countries running extremely high deficits, the old standard of debt to GDP ratio are being implemented against developing economies. The import is that the deficit recorded by Ghana within the COVID-19 era may act as a fetter to accessing loans to fund public finances. Moreover, increasing cost of businesses worldwide is putting pressure on petroleum prices, thereby making petroleum levies unattractive as a source of public funding or funding public expenditure. The best and the most viable way of the Ghanaian people helping themselves out of the post-COVID-19 recovery uncertainty is to raise funds from novel sources, hence the e-levy. The e-economy has grown enormously. Financial experts predict that transactions are set to top a trillion Ghana cedis very soon. Just about 3-4 years ago, it was around 35 billion. We are hitting into a transaction in the economy or the Momo economy of close to 3 trillion Ghana cedis, 1 trillion Ghana cedis very soon. It is important that the country conducts an objective conversation about a portion of this new economy being used to drive growth in Ghana. Widespread acceptability is the challenge of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, carrying the torch of the present generation on behalf of the New Patriotic Party and in the tradition of the MPP government, taking bold, courageous and far-reaching decisions, I wish to urge the government to be steadfast in its desire to resolve the difficulties of public finance through the levy. Just like the MPP of old, we, the leadership of the New Patriotic Party, are calling on the people to rise above the fray and support the government to deliver on its mandates. The MPP has a big picture view of where we are going as a country, and we need everybody on board to reach the dream of a prosperous Ghana. Success of the levy will require a massive mobilization of consensus. And I believe that the NDC will obviously come on board because they know that this is a levy that will increase without incurring additional debt and increasing our debt to GDP sustainability ratio, and also help for the development of this country. And if they hope to be in power in later years, they will also have the use of it. I think that I must also remind you that when we introduce the talk tax, so to speak, our friends from the other side complained to the extent that they said that, oh, we are monetizing talking in this country, that if you talk, we are going to levy you, charge you, take taxes from you. With all the arguments that went on, they went on series of demonstration and all that. At the end of the day, when they took over power in 2017, they did not scrap it because they saw the innovation in the tax that we introduced. I know that when the Ghanaian people accept this, and they are going to accept it, the NDC, when they come to power in so many years to come, will not scrap this levy that we are introducing. So we want them to continue to support us to make sure that this country does not only rely on debt, because it is not sustainable. Unfortunately, our political opponents can be quite unscrupulous when it comes to developing big ideas and supporting the implementation of those ideas for the public good. The mindset of the NDC is to paint a picture of gloom and doom, blame the MPP of all the ills of Ghana, and demand the vote of the people without any clear or viable policy proposals. In this statement, Baumia put it simply, they are a party of impossibilities. Nothing is possible. No new idea is possible. All that they know is the old ideas. It is for that reason why they will be fighting almost new ideas that are coming up. But I believe that they can rise up over that in order for them to join the new wave of new economy that we are facing in the world. What will the NDC do to surmount the question of public finances in a post-COVID era? They have nothing constructive to offer. Their only option is to go to IMF once again, cap in hand, to beg for assistance. I don't think that from where we are, having been able to get out of the claws of the IMF, that has enabled us to create the needed employment that the people of this country needed so much. There's the point in going back there again. And I believe that the NDC, their only solution is to go for policy credibility. It is strange that you yourself knows that your policies don't have credibility. So an outside person should police you to make sure your policies are credible. You know the IMF will force them to drop support to all our vital social services if they decide to go. Infrastructure delivery will slow down and employment will be banned. Free SHS will go out of the window and NHIS again will collapse as it nearly collapsed under the NDC. Ladies and gentlemen, as a major part of building consensus and improving consultation around the introduction of the e-levy and the 2022 Ajenkwa budget, I am personally leading a team from the National Communication Directorate of the party to interact with party communicators countrywide. The team has been meeting party communicators and orienting them about the need for certain kinds of taxes and the mobilization of popular support around the proposals offered by the government. Party communicators are being trained to appreciate the challenges of the times and to conduct themselves appropriately. The party recognizes the urgency of bringing our people around the ideas provided in the budget, and I and the team are attending to that with all seriousness it deserves. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to touch briefly on our relationship with the Honorable House of Parliament. The MPP appreciates the point that this is the first time we are experiencing in the Fourth Republic of nearly a hung parliament with a speaker from a party different from the majority. Nobody has a precedent on how it is working. Therefore, the MPP, as major stakeholders, will insist on a voice in shaping what will in future become the path, if ever the situation of a hung parliament comes again. And this is something that we must brace ourselves, because it is possible that in an election you have a president whose party has minority in parliament. Obviously, by the arrangement that we find ourselves, you have a speaker coming from a different political party. And the speaker must be a speaker. The speaker must moderate. The speaker must be a referee. The speaker must not be an active participant in debates. The speaker must remain number 3 and not move from 3 to 2 without any constitutional basis. Because this is a speaker who is insisting that laws that are made by Parliament are repealed by Parliament, which we all agree. So if the constitution of our country says that the number 1 person of our country is the president, the number 2 is the vice president, the number 3 is the speaker, the number 4 is the chief justice, how come all of a sudden an unknown justice of the Supreme Court will redefine this constitutional arrangement, and quickly he accepts that he has now moved from number 3 to number 2? I think that it is important that if the speaker wants to be president, it is important he join again in the presidential. I think he contested for the presidential race the other time and couldn't make any impact. I think the opportunity is still there for him to join the race as the NDC will open their flag bearership race, so that he rather become number 1, not number 2 or number 3. The MPP is a party of consensus and consultation. We are a listening government. We will continue to deliver on the needs of the people of Ghana. Thank you for your attention. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much.